Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this emergency special report of the Coastal Cast Live. I am Andrew Houston, and we are going to continue to track this low pressure system that is producing a massive amount of tornado warnings and confirmed tornadoes in parts of Texas and the Dixie Alley. So we're going to kind of move through here. This you can see on this fronts map right now. The center of low pressure is just over top of Louisiana up into Arkansas and moving very slowly at this point across Mississippi and Alabama over the next 12 to 24 hours, and then eventually across Georgia into South Carolina, where we're going to be seeing that increase potential for severe weather here along the Grand Strand and into the central and western portions of South Carolina. I think our biggest impacts here along the coast are going to be the wind potential out ahead of this front as these storms are making their way across. You can see right now this stationary front that's just kind of sitting over top of us. That was originally that warm front, which will again begin to start moving. It is still a warm front. It's just more stationary at this point. It's not really moving anywhere. That's what's causing the cloud cover today. As you can see, as you look out your windows right now, we are getting peaks of sunshine. So that front is beginning to kind of lift, and we're kind of getting a little bit of that influence of the high pressure to kind of clear us out a little bit here this afternoon and give us a little bit of sunshine for our Saturday. So that's eventually going to start working its way up, and you'll see that here on the next slide as I kind of work through what to expect here. So you can see here on this image that warm front now accelerates very quickly over the next 24 hours. Actually, this is the next 12 hours. So by 7 a.m. Tomorrow morning, that warm front will be up into the Virginia's, Maryland, PA lines, and that risk for that severe weather starts to really ramp up for us here in South Carolina. So we got that area of low pressure, that cold front working its way through. The center is now going to be up over Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and we're going to really start seeing that accelerated motion eastward of that cold front working its way through. So by 7 a.m. tomorrow, that cold front centered pretty much over Alabama. And now the severe threat is now shifting eastward into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, up into Virginia, PA. Wouldn't be ruled out for maybe a thunderstorm or two there in the western portions of PA. So this is nothing to really be majorly concerned about at this point for us. It is losing momentum as it kind of moves forward. If we were in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Texas right now, things would be a lot different. I think the tone would be a little more serious, and we'd be a little more worried as they are having a massive tornado and supercell outbreak down there ahead of this cold front as it's moving through. So we just want to keep an eye on things. Tomorrow will be a stay away weather day for our area and for our viewers, and we will be monitoring things as we go throughout the day, primarily between the hours of 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. I think that's when we're going to be looking at our greatest risk of potential thunderstorms and severe weather and wind along the front half of that cold front. So let's take a peek here at the Storm Prediction Center Day 1 categorical outlook. This is for today. Right now, you can see that major risk of tornadoes in parts of Louisiana into Mississippi, kind of breaking into Alabama right now in that red. That is significant for that area for the tornado outbreaks, and that extends. This risk for thunderstorms and severe weather extends all the way into western South Carolina at this point right now. So we can see out ahead of that cold front, still the risk here in western North Carolina for some thunderstorms and some rain as we progress through the next 12 to 24 hours. What does it look like for us here for the categorical outlook? This is, you can see the entire state of South Carolina. And now this has kind of changed a little bit since yesterday. Now we're actually stretching out off the coast a little bit. So we might see some marine advisories and things over the next 24 hours for the potential. And I think a lot of this is that wind potential here for us. So we will get to that here in a second. This is going to be the this is that tornado, that severe and tornado risk. And this is going to be putting us at about a 15%, pretty much the whole way through the state, 15% chance of severe weather. And that could be 60-mile-an-hour winds. It could be heavy rain. So we want to keep an eye out for that risk of that potential severe weather. Typically, most models are showing sometime around 4 p.m. till they get to our area here on the coast in Myrtle Beach. But at pretty much any time between that 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. area is when we're going to be looking for that severe potential as we move through the day. This is going to be the tornado outlook for tomorrow. As you can see, and we kind of discussed this last night, and I want to apologize for last night because I did not realize that my my monitor was not receiving data, so you guys weren't able to see a lot of this last night. So I wanted to apologize for that. As I was watching that stream back, I realized that my maps were not changing and you weren't seeing it. So we're going to make sure that happens today and you see everything. As we discussed last night, I had said that I believe that that tornado risk is going to be more so in the central to western portions of the state. And the National Weather Service kind of agrees with me, and the Storm Prediction Center agrees with that as well. And this latest outlook here today puts that risk, it's a 5% risk, so very low, but there is that possibility for a short lifespan tornado, as some of these supercells can, we don't lack the fuel, that's for sure. And we'll talk about that on some of these models. We'll show some of the instability, wind shear, and when you combine all of that together with this warm, moist air out of these southeasterly winds and eventually southern winds into tomorrow, we're going to be getting plenty of moisture coming out at southern winds. At that point, we're getting moisture out of the Gulf of Mexico. And that can really ramp up things for us as temperatures increase throughout the day. And this here is going to be our hail outlook. I think if we have a hail potential, most of it's going to be stretching through Georgia down into the panhandle of Florida, into the Big Bend area. But central western portions, again, where we have that tornado risk, the elevated tornado risk there at 5%, you're looking at that 5% chance of hail as well with it. Does not mean we can't see it here, just more likely in these areas here. The big thing for us in that forecast here is going to be the wind outlook ahead of that cold front as it's making its way across the country. So what we want to be looking at is the potential for strong winds. We have right now, they have us at a 15% chance of strong winds ahead of that cold front. And this can occur either during one of the thunderstorms that this system may produce, or we're going to be looking at just the winds from the actual cold front itself as it's making its way through. So again, most of those winds are going to be looking at arriving sometime between that 1, 4, and 8 p.m. So we're still kind of stretched out there on what the models think that this system's going to do as it's moving across, and when the timing of these storms that it expects we're going to see. So we'll look at some of that here as we go through the models here in a few minutes. But so I really wanted to discuss what we're looking at from the Storm Prediction Center as we're moving into tomorrow. So not looking great right now for parts of the Dixie Alley. A lot of severe weather down there at this point. You can kind of see on radar where that system is currently, and there's a lot of rotation. There's a lot of warm storms there. This morning we saw I made a post about it was about 9 o'clock this morning about the potential for that strong tornado. And I can't remember where exactly it was. We were looking, I can't find it at this moment, but really impressive. If you get a chance, go back and look. It was Woodworth, Louisiana. A really good possible tornado there. I haven't seen anything where it confirmed it yet, but we're going to keep an eye on that as well. So a lot of potential for tornadoes there in parts of Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, up into a little bit of Arkansas, and even stretching up into Tennessee and the Ohio Valley. Still seeing some of this severe weather as well. So let's take a peek here. I'm going to hide this, and we're going to take a look at some of our models here. This is, I'm going to bring this back. We need to be current, so we're going to come right to here. So this right here is that trough, okay? So this is the center of low pressure as tomorrow morning, and it's going to be about 1 a.m. That center of low pressure is right here, and moving kind of wants to eject to the northeast, okay? So as that system is ejecting to the northeast, that brings, again, you can see these lines are very close together at this point, and that is indicating the strong upper level winds. So what we're looking at here is the 700 millibar height. This is upper level. These are winds aloft, which mixing with, this is the wind shear, and mixing with these variables from the surface is where we run that risk for that tornado outbreak and severe thunderstorm outbreak. Okay, so as we move through Sunday, we get to that 21Z. That's when we're anticipating that weather outbreak. That's going to be, this is around 4 p.m. So we're going to be looking at that middle portion of the day, and that mixing with that warm air, we're looking at the potential for some thunderstorms. And you can see those winds aloft are pretty strong at this point as we are moving through the day. If we compare this 21Z here to, let's go to severe. We'll do the storm relative helicity. This is wind shear at the 21Z on Sunday. Oh, I went past it. So 21Z, you can see here, this is 4 p.m. This helicity is pretty strong. So we've got a lot of wind shear at that point, which is helps complete the ensemble for that tornado risk, that severe thunderstorm risk at that point. So as you can see, these numbers get a little bit higher as we move through the day here. So a lot of indications that we could see the potential risk of severe weather here. Again, this is the wind shear. We can look at the instability as well around that time. So we'll go here to the 21Z on Saturday around 4. And you can see that unstable air is starting to work its way in. Not as much as what we were seeing yesterday on models. So this is showing that system weakening slightly as it's moving into our area. So we do have that instability, and that's where I was saying yesterday, I was kind of seeing this weakening pattern as it moved through the models over the past couple days. And this is the GFS model. This is what I've been using and kind of forecasting off of based on trends and comparing with other models. This is what I've decided to go with for my forecast. So what I was looking at was this instability here in the central portion of South Carolina. A lot of instability there mixed with that wind shear Let's go back to the wind shear here at the 21. As soon as it loads for me, there we go. See, we're mixing with that wind shear here towards the center portion of the state. We may see that wind shear is a little bit heavier here along the coast, but that instability really lies back here towards the center, south central portions of the state. And that's conducive of those severe storms as well. So we're going to keep an eye on that as we kind of move forward. We can take a look at the supercell composite here. This just gives you an idea of where those supercells are looking. It takes a lot of those factors like the wind shear and the relative helicity and instability and all of that, and kind of factors it in. And as you can see here at the 21Z, and even moving into the evening of Sunday, if I can go back to Sunday, even moving into the evening of Sunday into Monday, late at night, we're still seeing that supercell composite being a factor there. Now you can see these real dark numbers down here in portions of southern Georgia. So, that line extends very far. So you're talking about a very big line, and this even extends up into portions of Virginia, North Carolina. So none of us are really out of the threat of the severe weather all the way up into Virginia and possibly into Maryland and Pennsylvania at this point. Western Pennsylvania, you're seeing the possibility. So really the center of the major severe weather outbreak for tomorrow looks to be portions of Georgia at this point, based off of this model here. We can do what the energy looks like. So this is energy mixed with wind shear. As you can see, again, that 21Z for Sunday, a lot of that energy down here, but you're still seeing it filtering up in and through Virginia or North Carolina, up into Virginia slightly. There's a little bit up here into Western Pennsylvania. So even down into Florida, they're watching the risk of severe weather as well. So a lot of risk here for tomorrow. Not near as much as what they're seeing in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Texas, but we still run that risk. So I'm still pretty confident that we do run the risk of seeing that severe weather tomorrow as we move through the afternoon into the evenings as well. So let's take a look here we will come to the surface and we will look at the radar. So this is going to be the composite reflectivity. This is basically like a futurecast radar. Okay, this is what's going to show us those lines of storms that the models kind of predict where this is going to happen and how it's going to happen. So we'll go out to the 21. You can see, actually, we'll just go Sunday morning throughout the day here, then in the afternoon as we start making our way into around 4 p.m. Those storms are now starting to filter through the Horry County coastal portions of South Carolina. But if you go back about a couple hours, this is 18Z, so this will be 1 o'clock our time. You can see that line of severe weather and heavy rain is starting to work its way through much of the portions. Now, this is again where I was saying, and the composite reflectivity is kind of agreeing with that, where we could see the potential for those heavy supercells and heavy rains and storms within the central to western portions of the state. And it kind of relaxes a little bit as we go a little bit further east. But still at this point, not ruling out a severe thunderstorm or heavy rain here and a lot of wind here along the coast. It's a little bit more stable air as we get closer to the beach because of the cool waters of the Atlantic. That's keeping temperatures a little bit lower along the coast, which lessens that instability in the air, and conditions are a little bit less favorable as you get closer to the beach. But as you get further inland, temperatures are increasing. You're not having that influence of the Atlantic Ocean on the atmosphere at that point and on the surface level temperatures at that point. So your instability becomes a little bit greater as we move a little bit westerly into the state. So still looking, around that 4 p.m. and even into the later hours. If I can get this, I wish I could get this to work for me here for you guys half the time. But it likes to just have a mind of its own. This is evening and Sunday into Monday, and then eventually Monday throughout the day. That cold front's going to work its way off the coast, and we're looking much better as we kind of move through. Now, with that low pressure, high pressure is going to kind of build in a little bit for the rest of the week, but we're still going to be looking at some warmer temperatures as we're going to be getting those southerly and westerly winds moving through much of the area for much of the week before we have another cool down, which we will talk about on the Coastal Cast Live episode tomorrow. I may run that a little bit earlier, and I may do it probably around this time tomorrow. So just really depends on what we're looking at as far as severe weather and how the day's kind of progressing. 5 o'clock might be a little too late to start. So we may do it around this time tomorrow. So just keep that in mind as we kind of work through the day. But I will make an announcement for that as well. So, but really, today, the biggest thing today is or tomorrow, is this severe threat as this cold front is going to start working its way through. The warm front that has come through and has become a stationary front kind of over top of us today is going to lift to the north and allow room for that cold front to start working easterly across the state tomorrow. And we will see how things go. I anticipate a thunderstorm or two that we're going to be reporting on. And as the day progresses, we will see what time we're going to start the Coastal Cast tomorrow. But again, I will make an announcement for that as we kind of move through the early portions of the day tomorrow and into the afternoon. So just keep an eye out. If you like, follow, and subscribe to our information, you can get notifications when we go live. So if you want to get that notification, if you go to YouTube, you can click that little bell button, and it's going to give you the option for the notifications when we go live, so you don't miss anything. If we are to get any tornado warnings or anything like that, we will be live either way tomorrow. As soon as we get that tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning is issued, we will be coming live and bringing that information to you guys. So with live radar on the system as well. So we look forward to being with you tomorrow on the Coastal Cast, and we will keep monitoring the situation as the day goes forward. And I want to thank you for being here on the broadcast today. Your support means a lot to me, and I'm glad that I can keep you guys aware of what's going on over the Southeast and across the country as well over the next 12 to 24 hours. And we will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.